Fake HOA/tires on a vet's SUV, the whole block united and revolted. Have you ever wondered what happens when a neighborhood bully picks the wrong fight? In the quiet cul-de-sac of Willow Grove, a self-proclaimed HOA enforcer named Karen thought she could rule with an iron fist. Her target? A veteran's prized SUV, a symbol of his hard-earned freedom. What she didn't expect was the firestorm of rebellion her actions would ignite. It started on a crisp autumn evening, the kind where the air smells of fallen leaves and porch lights cast a warm glow. Tom Hargrove, a retired Marine with 20 years of service, parked his black SUV in his driveway as always. The vehicle, a rugged beast with a small American flag decal, was his pride and joy, a reminder of the open road and the life he'd fought for. But Karen, the neighborhood's self-appointed HOA watchdog, had other plans. She'd been terrorizing Willow Grove for months, slapping fines on anyone who dared to leave a trash can out past 7 a.m. or plant flowers that didn't match her approved aesthetic. Her latest obsession? Enforcing a non-existent rule against oversized vehicles in driveways. Tom's SUV, though modest, was her new fixation. Karen, armed with a clipboard and a vendetta, had no official HOA authority. Willow Grove didn't even have a formal homeowners association, just a loose agreement among residents to keep things civil. But Karen had declared herself the arbiter of order, printing fake HOA letterheads and issuing citations from her home office. Most neighbors grumbled but complied, too busy or intimidated to challenge her. Tom, however, was different. A man who'd faced combat zones wasn't about to bow to a suburban tyrant. When Karen slipped a threatening note under his door, "Remove the SUV or face consequences," Tom just chuckled and tossed it in the trash. That night, under the cover of darkness, Karen struck. Dressed in a reflective vest she'd bought online to look official, she crept to Tom's driveway with a kitchen knife. The blade sliced through the SUV's tires with a sickening hiss, rubber shredding as she worked with gleeful malice. She didn't stop at one, she slashed all four, leaving the vehicle slumped like a wounded animal. To seal her victory, she taped a new note to the windshield. "Next time, it's towed. Comply or else." Karen slipped back to her house, convinced she'd taught Tom a lesson. But Karen had underestimated her target and the neighborhood. By morning, Tom discovered the carnage. His SUV, a vehicle he'd saved for years to buy, was ruined, tires reduced to mangled heaps. The note on the windshield was a taunt too far. Tom's blood boiled, but he didn't act rashly. Instead, he knocked on his neighbor Lila's door. Lila, a retired schoolteacher with a knack for rallying people, was horrified. She'd been on the receiving end of Karen's fines herself, a $50 penalty for a birdhouse deemed too colorful. Together, they hatched a plan. Word spread like wildfire. Lila texted the neighborhood group chat, and by noon, a dozen residents gathered in Tom's driveway. Among them was Javier, a young mechanic who'd moved in recently and kept to himself. He'd never spoken up about Karen's antics, but this time he was livid. "She slashed my cousin's tires in our old neighborhood," he revealed, a twist that stunned the group. "Same fake HOA nonsense. I thought I'd escaped her type." Javier's story lit a spark. Karen's reign wasn't just a local problem. It was a pattern of petty tyranny. The group decided to confront Karen, but not with violence or chaos. They wanted justice, and they wanted it loud. Javier used his shop's security camera to pull footage from a neighbor's system, catching Karen's late-night vandalism in grainy but unmistakable detail. The video showed her in her absurd vest, knife in hand, slashing away with a smirk. It was the smoking gun they needed. Lila, ever the strategist, suggested they turn Karen's own tactics against her. "She loves her signs and her notes," Lila said. "Let's give her a taste of her own medicine." That evening, the neighborhood transformed into a battleground of defiance. Residents printed posters with stills from the security footage, captioned, "Karen's reign of terror ends here." They plastered them on every mailbox, lamppost, and stop sign in Willow Grove. Tom, Javier, and Lila led a march to Karen's house. A modest two-story she turned into her HOA headquarters. The group carried flashlights and phones, some live-streaming the event to social media. Karen's porch light flicked on as she opened her door, expecting to intimidate a lone complainer. Instead, she faced 20 neighbors, their faces a mix of fury and resolve. "Who do you think you are?" Tom's voice boomed, steady but sharp. He held up a printed still of Karen slashing his tires. "This is my property, my home. You don't get to play dictator here." Karen stammered, her usual bluster fading under the crowd's gaze. "Two was just enforcing the rules," she protested, clutching her fake HOA binder. But Javier stepped forward, his phone playing the footage on loop. "What rules, Karen? You made it all up. You're not an HOA vandal." The crowd erupted in cheers, chanting, "No more Karen." A teenage neighbor, emboldened, taped one of the posters to Karen's front door. Another resident, Mrs. Chun, who'd been fined for her unapproved garden gnome, shouted, "You owe Tom for those tires." Karen's face crumpled, her authority dissolving like sand. She tried to slam the door, but Lila wedged her foot in, her voice calm but unyielding. "You can't hide from this, Karen. You crossed a line, and we're done." The fallout was swift and merciless. The live stream went viral, racking up thousands of views overnight. Local news picked up the story, dubbing it the Willow Grove Revolt. Karen's fake HOA was exposed as a sham, her citations nothing more than paper threats. The police, alerted by the footage, charged her with vandalism and property damage. Tom's tires, costing $800 to replace, were added to her restitution. Karen's reputation, already shaky, was obliterated. Neighbors who'd once feared her now ignored her, her mailbox overflowing with returned fines and mocking notes. But the real victory wasn't just Karen's downfall, it was the neighborhood's awakening. Tom, Lila, and Javier organized a block party the following weekend, funded by donations from residents who'd had enough of division. They grilled burgers, played music, and even set up a tire fund to help Tom recover his losses. Javier fixed the SUV for free, his way of thanking Tom for standing up. The party wasn't just a celebration. It was a declaration that Willow Grove belonged to its people, not a petty tyrant. In the end, Karen moved away. Her house sold quietly to a young family who joined the block party with wide-eyed enthusiasm. Tom's SUV rolled back onto his driveway, gleaming under the sun, a symbol of resilience. The neighborhood, once fractured by fear, was now a community forged in unity. They'd taken down a bully, not with her tactics, but with truth and togetherness. What would you do if a fake HOA tried to control your neighborhood? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between community rules and personal freedom?